Hi there, Maria. How are you today?
Good. How are you?
Good. Tell me, how have you been since our last session?
Um, let's see. It's been a cold week, so it's been long. I've had class, but things at work have slowed down a little, so that seems to have been helping in terms of my stress and anxiety for sure.
So you're just, so you said that it slowed down because this is the activities coming into the holidays?
I think so. I do have a big event that's coming up on Tuesday at the high school that I'm in charge of. It's the career fair. So I'm in charge of the whole thing, really, like recruiting people to come, set up for sure, the whole business. But I'm surprised because I'm not as stressed about it as I remember being last year when I did it.
Tell me what's different about that.
I think I just feel more confident about it because I know how it went. I know what to expect. I know what to do. And I kind of feel like now I'm at that stage where I kind of know where to go from there, and I know what to expect, and kind of already going through those problems that are inevitable last year. Nothing major, but just like little things that come along the way. Now I know what to expect, so I'm not as nervous about it, which is
and
good.
And what is that? How does that affect you not being as nervous? What are you finding that you're able to accomplish or not accomplish, not being nervous about it?
Probably kind of proud of myself a little, glad that you're relaxed for once, almost. Just because normally something like that, especially such a huge event where there is from the outside a lot of pressure, and not that I don't feel the pressure to perform, but now that I know what to do and I feel like I have my ducks in a row, I'm proud of myself that I'm not freaking out, which is what I felt like I was doing last year.
So what I hear you saying is that last year, because it was new, it made it more nervous for you? That it wasn't disastrous.
Right.
But it just was new. And now this year, because it's not new, you feel more comfortable.
Right.
And it takes me back to what you said during our last session. You said that you're nervous, not nervous, but that you have some anxiety about school because you're not sure what to expect, and that this is your first year, but next year you feel that you'll be more comfortable. So that's how things work for you, that if you experience them more than once, then you're able to feel comfortable.
Yeah, definitely having more of just that experience, I think, already just puts me at ease. And even, last year I did the same, like I mentioned, I did the same career fair, so that helps, but also just having that 1 year of experience already locked down, where I almost feel like the school year is like this roller coaster, and it's like there's so much going on all the time, and then there's periods of lull, and then you're back up, busy and trying to get everything done. And last year, I just wasn't used to that pace.
Because of, was it your first year last year?
It was my first year.
Okay, it was your first year,
yeah.
totally.
So I just didn't have experience in that.
Right.
Especially working for the high school. So I think now that I have that whole year behind me, I know what to expect, and I kind of feel more confident in general. So same with my school. I feel like next year I'll at least have an idea of how to time manage.
So tell me, how does that interplay, like when you are experiencing new things, how does that interplay with sometimes, you told me that sometimes it's not necessarily repetitive anymore, you're much better at that, but sometimes with the thoughts you have of just being nervous about things, and you talked to me a little bit about just sometimes that you used to clean, and now how does new affect those type of behaviors for you?
I think a pretty good example was a couple of weeks ago. One of my, of course, new jobs that I decided to take on this year was being a supervisor for college entrance testing, so SAT and ACT. And so we have 2 fall dates, 2 spring dates for each test. And we just had our first 2 fall dates, so they're done. So October 25th was the ACT, and I was so nervous because I didn't know what to expect. I've proctored an exam before, but I've never actually run the show, like recruited proctors, organized all the booklets, and kids enter. We could probably just, does that stop it, or do we,
It says stop capture.
or was it pause?
Is it still on? I think it's still going. So we'll just,
Oh, I think so too.
yeah, sorry, teacher.
You can cut it out, that's all right.
I don't know how to do that.
Oh, okay.
And you mean cut it out like?
I think maybe there's a way you can edit it out, I'm not sure.
Oh, well, maybe I'll figure it out. Okay, so
Yeah.
we'll just keep it going. Okay, so you were telling me about, this is your first year that you,
Right,
just did the whole, college career, SAT,
Yeah.
ACT testing.
right, so I've never, done it before, and there's kind of there's a lot of steps that go along with it,
Mm-hmm.
and so the week leading up to it, I mean, it was almost like I had a hard time going to sleep, just because I was constantly, like, stressed about my to-do list, and if I felt like every day I would go home, I felt like I wasn't that productive, just because I think sometimes I have this mindset of if I need to do something and I have a huge to-do list, it needs to all get done in one day. I don't like it when I have to span it out. So I think that when that happened, maybe Monday I accomplished 2 out of like the 20 things I needed to do. I would go home and be upset, and then I would have trouble sleeping. I'd wake up really early the next day because I felt like I couldn't sleep, and I'd get to work early so I can be more productive. So that was kind of a lot of pressure.
Did that happen when you got to work early? Were you able to be more productive?
Yeah, I think
Okay,
that,
so you were able to do that, but if you still felt the pressure, you were saying.
Right.
Tell me about that.
I mean, I think that I definitely feel the pressure, but I'm more of like, I'm on the train and the train's moving, so just gotta keep going.
Gotta keep going.
So I'm definitely, I don't think that I would ever just kind of like fall and be like, okay, I don't want to do this anymore. Like I don't like to quit. So once that was over with, I felt better about it. And then even November 8th, when the SAT rolled around, so it was my second time doing it,
Okay.
I was still nervous about it, but just because it's a little bit of a different test, but I was more nervous because my boss was not going to be there. Sorry, it's kind of like a tangent, but I was still not as nervous. But when I first had the ACT, I was like freaking out because I have all these kids' tests in my hands.
Okay. And they had finished tests you had to pass out, or they had
So I
finished?
passed out and collected,
Okay.
organized, sent off to the testing centers. But I do that independently. So just having all of that like together, there's a lot of like, ooh, I want to make sure I don't jeopardize a child's test. That was my concern. So I didn't want like my lack of experience to affect them. So that was just what I was nervous about, I think.
Now, when you just said a second ago, sorry not to be in a tangent about it. What did you mean by that?
Well, it felt like I was kind of going on about like irrelevant details, but
So why do you think it was irrelevant? Why do you think I
I
would
guess
not be?
technically it's not irrelevant, but sometimes I feel like I got to stick to the story. So I felt like that was.
And if
like
you
a
don't stick to
random
the story, what
fact.
happens?
I just want to make sure there's like a logical flow. I don't know. I feel like if I don't stick to a logical flow, people lose interest or confused, and I just don't want to do that to someone. So I don't know.
Well, when that happens to you, if someone doesn't stick to the logical flow, then you lose interest or you don't?
Actually, I think that I listen. I want to.
So why do you think other people aren't listening?
I don't know. I think that I want to be a counselor, and I like hearing stories from people, and I like listening, and
So you find that that's your interest, no matter whether they're sticking or whether they're bouncing all over the floor. You're okay with it, but you find have someone in your past maybe said that to you that
maybe working with high school students. I just want to make sure that I'm giving them the most important information, and I'm not like boring them to because getting their attention sometimes is like a challenge. So I feel like I got to stick to the point. So that's probably my work mode. Just when I talk to students, I got to get to the point.
So you were just saying too as well that you like to-do list and things on the train. So where do you think all that comes from? Like working a to-do list has to be complete. I'm on the train that's going, I can't get off, can't quit. So where do you think that comes from? I mean, is that something that you've experienced in the past or?
I mean, I always kind of give credit to my parents. Like, they are extremely hardworking people, and I think they were just a really good model growing up of working hard and how you can't really give up, even if, I mean, stress was considered normal, and not that, I mean, my parents were always very like, let's talk about it, are you okay? But they were still, I noticed that they were extremely focused and very driven people. My mom was a stay-at-home mom for 10 years, but she, before that, had a really successful career. She didn't go to college, which was pretty admirable. She just went straight into the financial field, and she worked her way up from being a secretary to, I think she was like a senior training analyst or something. So she worked her way up pretty high.
So you felt very proud of her and you
Oh yeah.
admire her.
I do. I mean, she works really hard. And so then when she had my second sister, so the third of us girls,
Yes.
she decided to be a stay-at-home mom, and she was for 10 years. And she devoted herself completely to her kids. And even though maybe she didn't have that career aspect at the time, I mean, she was still such an involved and caring mom, and I could tell that she was giving like her 100% and being a mom. And then when we all got older, you know, I was in basically almost college, and my youngest sister was entering middle school. She's got like a part-time job, and then she eventually got a job with the government, which my mom is very, I mean, she's very, what's the word?
Savvy.
Savvy, but I guess like government and like law enforcement and just America in general is very important to her. So she's very like, a patriot.
Patriot, yeah. Patriotic.
Patriotic, there you go.
Yeah.
Sorry, I couldn't think of it. So she got a job with the government, and she's been there for a couple of years now. But she started again at like a secretary job.
Yeah.
And now she's a deputy chief.
So once again.
Right. So she's already like worked her way up. I mean, she's gotten so many promotions, and she just works so hard. So that was my model of like working hard. My dad did the same thing.
Don't give up.
Right.
Just push.
Right. I mean, he had 2 years of college, so he got his associates. He paid for his way through school independently as an 18, 19-year-old. Got a job as a brick mason while he was in school, studied construction management at Nova, and then became a general contractor, owns his own business. He's been doing that for years, and then he, 2 years ago, got a job with Jenkins Restoration. It's a restoration company as a project manager for large claims. So they both have just worked their way up like so much, and they really came from the bottom. So I think when I think about that, I'm like, well, if they can do it, I can do it. So, and I have their backing too.
Yeah, that's important for you. It sounds like your family's very important.
They are.
Just how they model themselves to show you a way to go, and you like that way.
I do.
And it's working for you. That's awesome. So what we were just talking about, I just wanted to hear, like, you know, like where do you think that came from in regards to, like, you know, I can't give up and I won't give up. So we were talking about the stress. So now this week you said the stress is actually a little bit less because the work is not as much.
Right. It hasn't been. Like back in October, I felt like I couldn't catch a break, and I felt like it was one thing after the other, and then there's a paper I have to write, and there's a student I have to work with. It was just kind of like all over the place. Whereas now, I mean, at work, it's pretty slow. I've been able to just kind of focus on getting done what I need to get done. I've had time to work on schoolwork without, you know, staying up until 2 a.m. So that's been nice, just having a little bit more breather time. I mean, I still feel like there's not as much time to do other things that I would like to do.
Mm-hmm.
Like even if I sit down and watch TV, I can't just sit there and watch TV. I have to email, I have to work on a homework assignment. I feel like I still have to constantly move,
Mm-hmm.
but at least it's more at a relaxed pace rather than, ooh, what am I doing? Let me get everything done.
Mm-hmm.
So,
So Maria, I hear you and you constantly want to do things. Tell me what, if, when you said a relaxed mode, tell me really what relaxation means to you.
probably having absolutely nothing to do, like
Mm-hmm.
nothing on my to-do list,
Mm-hmm.
personal, work, social, school, nothing, like just not even having a care.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah, I mean,
How many days do you get to do that?
none right now.
Okay.
Right now it's like, nope, every day I need to do something.
Mm-hmm. But you said I need to do, or do you need to do, or can you take any moment for yourself?
I mean, to be honest, at this moment, probably not. I mean, I still like, if I'm sitting on my computer and, like I mentioned, like watching TV, or I'm, I don't know, on like a social media site or something, I can take a break from whatever I'm doing. Like if I'm writing a paper, but then I'm watching TV, I'll stop writing the paper and I'll look up and watch the TV for a little bit, and give myself, I guess, a little bit of a break. And then commercial comes on, okay, back to work. That's pretty much my free time right
Okay,
now.
that's your free time. Just to glance at the TV or
Right.
So then you're doing all these things. So give me, if I asked you for a priority list, excuse me, talk to me about like what do you value? Like what is the first thing? Like if I say Maria, what is your values? What do you value?
Um,
First thing that comes
like
to
on
your
my
mind.
to-do list,
No,
or just
first
in
thing that
general?
comes to your mind. Is your to-do list valuable for you?
No, I mean, my
the first-
family is probably the most important. So even if I have a lot going on, my husband and my family, like my parents and my sisters, are definitely my number one. And I think I'm able to, if something comes up, I can push that to-do list away and focus on
And focus on your family.
that, yeah.
Okay, so then what about yourself? How do you take care of yourself outside of everything? Like take care of yourself.
Um,
What does it look like to you when you're taking care of yourself?
Probably shopping and getting my hair done or getting my nails done. Just, I don't know, doing things that I enjoy like that. Yeah.
Do you get to do those things in the midst of your busyness? Do you get to do those things?
I did a couple weeks ago, just because it was right after the SAT.
Yeah.
So, because now, I was kind of like, all right, I have my 2 big testing dates done with. Like, it was Sunday, even though I worked all day Saturday, and I probably would have liked to just like laid at home. On Sunday, I went shopping, I went got my hair done, I went got my nails done with a friend. So, that was nice. And my husband was like, go for it. You deserve it.
Right.
You need to relax. So that was kind of nice. And that helped. I mean, I felt kind of rejuvenated. So.
And now you feel like that rejuvenation is still here, or
I feel
like you need
I'm still calm.
another day out?
Yeah, I mean, I took off, I think it was last Wednesday from work. I think so. Yeah, last Wednesday. And that was kind of nice. I just emailed my boss, and I just said, I think I'm going to take a mental health day today. I'm going to work on some homework and get some things done and relax. And she's very flexible. So she's like, all right, enjoy it. So that helped.
And what'd you do that day?
I did homework. Like I went to a Starbucks, which was nice. I mean, I just kind of like dressed like a bum. I went to Starbucks and got a coffee and worked on my homework and just kind of like relaxed. It wasn't as, all right, get this done. It was just more like, all right, you have the day to like do what you want to do. And if you don't get it all done, then that's okay for now.
So when you get overly stressed and overly, like I think you said your husband said something to you about, take a day, do this. goodness. So what else do you, like, is there anyone else that you turn to?
I mean, if someone asks me how's it going, or how are you doing? I mean, I'll be honest and I'll say, I have a lot going on. It's been pretty busy. But my husband's probably the one that I feel like I could just completely disclose how I really feel. I mean, it's the same feeling of, I'm stressed and whatnot, but with him, it's more of, oh my gosh, like, I don't know if I'm going to make it out. I'm just so stressed. Like, what do I do? Just because I know that if I'm honest about that, and he's really, he's very supportive in that environment. So if I tell him how much stress I'm going through, or I'm really upset, I mean, I can easily like break down in front of him. And if I do, I mean, he's very like nurturing, and he'll make me feel better with not just empathy, but also like, well, if you need, you have a lot going on and you need to do something, do you want me to go get you a coffee? Like, do you want me to go get you ice cream? Like, I mean, he's very good about like making me feel better. And if it's an ice cream or it's just a timeout, I mean, he's pretty open to that.
So you do have an outlet that you can depend on.
Yeah, definitely.
And it sounds like it works for you.
Yeah, I mean, I think about the people who, I might hear a story, and I'm not trying to judge other people's relationships, but when I definitely hear from friends or coworkers about their husbands who, like, maybe won't get out of bed to go take care of the crying baby, and they constantly have to do it, I think about it, and I'm like, I mean, he's been so, like, the dog is barking, or whatever, like, I don't think I've ever woken up in the middle of the night to do anything. He always jumps up, and so then I think about that. I'm very fortunate that he's extremely supportive of making sure, like, my mind is clear and that I'm okay. And
it sounds like you value him as well.
I do. I mean, I think I should probably be a little bit more appreciative, because I feel like, unfortunately, he gets two sides of the sword. Because, you're stressed, and I feel comfortable with him, obviously. So if I'm expressing how angry I am about something, he's also an outlet for me to maybe snap, unfortunately. And so then I'm always like, I'm sorry, when that does happen. But luckily he takes it, and he knows, like, okay, it's not me. Like, she's having a moment. So I'm trying to get better with that. To not freak out as much.
So why do you think you let freak out, as you said? Why do you think you freak out when you get like that? Even if, how do I put it? You're around him, and you're able to be totally yourself. And why do you think you want to freak out? What happens that makes you think that that you've gotten to this level where you're just like,
Probably just because, like, this, I mean, when I'm home, that's where I'm comfortable, and I feel like that's where I sit and I think, and the stress might build, because maybe I'm just thinking about everything I need to get done, or, maybe even something small happens, like the dog is acting insane or tearing something up, and I think about everything I need to get done, and how now I'm taking the time to take care of the dog, when I need to be focusing on what I want to be doing. And maybe he's over there just sitting watching TV. And it's not like he wouldn't get up and do it, but instead of me nicely asking, like, can you go get Luna and take care of whatever she's doing, I'm more of like, oh my God, the dog is doing something, and you're just sitting there. So I think it's just that snap. When that's what
you're considering snapping.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what makes you think that, I mean, because you're talking calmly to me, and you're able to discern, okay, if I say this, it would be more of a nicer communication, or a camaraderie communication, as opposed to the way you say it, and you consider that a snap. So what makes you able to snap faster than not?
And probably just because I'm comfortable with him. So I feel like he's going to see all the shades all the time. So, and he's that one person where I am unfiltered. probably that. But sometimes I think, like, especially in a relationship, when you get too comfortable like that, you sometimes forget to rein in and think about the other person. So that's just something that I've been aware of that I have been trying to work on.
So what have you done to work on that?
Saying thank you instead of just expecting it. Maybe asking him, like taking the time to ask him, how was your day? You know, tell me about it and listening. Whereas I think I kind of noticed that I was so focused on my day and what I need to get done that I wouldn't really ask him. I mean, he's a pretty like mellow guy anyway, so it's not like I feel like he would run home and be like, oh my gosh, okay, so at 8:05, this is what I did, and then at 10 o'clock I did this. I mean,
and then what if he did? What would that do for you?
If he did, I'd probably be exhausted. So then I think about it, and I'm like, okay, that's what I do to him. So, you know, I need to be appreciative that at least he sits there and listens to it, I think.
You think?
I mean, he does. I'm just kind of joking.
Oh.
Yeah.
So he listens to you, and then you're saying that he listens to you when you snap, or he listens to you when you talk about your day?
Both.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, I think when I talk about my day, I mean, there's probably moments where he's, like I said, kind of like, okay. I mean, because he had a long day, so just in kind of my own, like, working through things, I'm trying to be a little bit more mindful of that. Just kind of considering how his day went, you know, just trying to be fair, I guess.
So you think that being fair would be to pay him, like, give him some, I guess, a different attention, or be concerned about some of the things that he's gone through.
Right, definitely.
So we were talking about, like, you know, just your relaxation, your self-value, you know, things that you value. And so how does your, I know you told me right now that you're living with your whole family. Is there, like, space, do you have a place to go for me time? Like, if you like, I guess you call it time out.
Yeah.
You said that earlier. Do you have to leave the house, or is it just you find a corner?
Well, I think that, I mean, we live in the basement with my parents. So my parents' house, they have a basement.
Oh, okay.
And we have the whole basement, which we always joke that the basement's actually bigger than our condo was. And it's a little nicer. So I think that we get, like, when we close the door to the basement, and we have that vast space, because it's pretty large, I would say. You know, we have, like, our own room, we have our own closets, we have the whole, like, living room, and we have, like, the little kitchenette and the bathroom. So I feel like having that space, closing the door, and, like, having my own space doesn't make me feel as, like, suffocated at all.
Yeah.
I definitely feel more like I'm in my own space. Because my parents even let us just completely decorate it how I want it.
Okay.
Put our furniture in it. So it's like, and we're renting from them. So it just feels kind of like a rental apartment.
But your parents are there.
But they're there.
Which is nice. I mean,
it is, yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, it would be. It is. I mean,
for me, it would be.
It is nice. I mean, I think that my husband and I right now are really enjoying it. Just, you know, having that financial kind of load off for right now. Because we owned a condo before, and being, you know, I'm a student. I don't make a lot of money at my job, and it was just kind of nice now. Like, we sold it, so we no longer have a mortgage, and we just pay my parents like $500 a month, and that's our rent, and that's our food. Like, we don't pay for groceries. So we have, like, yeah, so now we're
enjoying that.
We are. Like, we both are just like, high five, like, this is awesome. Like, we have, you know, no, like, serious, I mean, we have our loan bills, and we have, you know, everything else that goes on, but, I mean, we have so much opportunity to save and pay things off and get rid of debt. I know that a lot of other people might not have that opportunity, so.
So then what does that do for you in regards to what you were saying? Other people might not have the opportunity, and how does that affect you?
I feel very thankful. You know, I think Well, it was actually interesting because I pulled up one day to the house and I got out my car and I saw the neighbor across the street and she was raking leaves with her little daughters and they're very cute. And I waved hello and I said, hey there, and she hasn't seen me since we moved back in.
Oh, okay.
So she goes, welcome back to the neighborhood, kind of joking around. And I was like, thanks. So I was like, yep, we're back again. She's like, well, there's worse places you could live. And I laughed. But that comment, I think, did strike me a little.
Okay.
Not like in a good way. Like it made me really reflect. Like she's right.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I can sit there and wallow like, oh, I wish I had like the 5-bedroom house out in Ashburn, but I have a pretty good setup here. I'm with my family. I have a really nice. It's a nice basement. I mean, my parents paid for the food. They paid for this roof over our heads, and they understand. Like they're very supportive, and I know that other people might not have that family support, and that makes me feel like very thankful. So that almost helps like banish those. And I almost feel like when I do think that self-pity of like, oh, I wish I had the big house and I didn't have all the student debt. That makes it go away a little because I'm like, well, there are a lot of people in the country, actually probably more than half the country, who are in a boatload of student debt, who don't have this opportunity, and who will never be able to pay their bills. And I can. So I should be thankful, and I am.
So when you're not thankful about things, does that affect you? Do you worry about that?
Yeah, I mean, I work in a very affluent area, and DC in general is a very expensive area. But the high school I work at, it's in a very expensive part of Loudoun County, and my coworkers are older than me, and they all have like these really nice houses. Their husbands make a lot of money, and they're just kind of like, even just like when we talk, they're, oh, I have to pay for photography for my, family Christmas pictures. It's going to cost a couple $1,000s. Or, they just, I don't know, like their stress for me, I just feel like sounds very frivolous. And so when I think about that, I'm like, oh, should I be worrying about paying for pictures or, like kind of being caught up in that in a sense of like keeping up with the Joneses.
You kind of feel that way. So what makes you feel that you have to keep up with them? Just
well, one thing sometimes, people know that my position's not a highly paid position at all. Like, they all know it's a very low paid position. So I think that they know that, and they almost, like, they'll say things like, well, I know that this position is not a lot of money, and they'll push, like, they'll push, like, other opportunities for me to make more money at the school, which I think is nice, but I also, like, I don't want them to worry about me. So I feel like if I act, I am comfortable with, I wish I had more money, but, I'm very thankful that my husband makes a lot more money than I do, so we're able to save and pay off bills and whatnot. So I don't feel like I'm in this huge financial strain. But, it would be nice to be like, yep, I have a house and, like I don't have student debt. So.
Well, you told me that you guys are saving for the house. So I guess you have the plans one day.
We do. So, and that was kind of the big decision. We bought the condo that we lived in before.
Okay.
Which we were really proud of ourselves. We're like, this is nice. Like, we're not renting. Like, we're saving our money and we're, putting money into equity, and building credit and whatnot. But we were still, it just still kind of sucked to have like $1,500 out of your account every month for this super small space.
Yeah.
And so we both were like, well, let's go ahead and sell it, and maybe just taking the opportunity while you're in school, we can save a lot of money, and then rather than jumping from condo to maybe a small, really, not very updated, like townhouse, and then to a house when we're like 40. What if we go ahead and just for now save all our money, pay off debt, and then going from a small condo to a really nice place that we want to live in that we can afford? So that was more of that mentality, the larger reward.
Now, who came up with that idea? Or you guys?
I think both of us. I think we both kind of went through that complex of like, we didn't want to give up that role of being a homeowner. I mean, it was almost like an added, like, ooh, we're 24, 25, and we own this condo. I don't know, just kind of being adult. Not that, like, there's anything bad with renting, but we were just kind of proud of ourselves that we were, able to do that. So I think giving that up was kind of hard at first. So then
felt like you had accomplished something.
Right.
And kind of goes along with you almost giving up.
Yeah, it felt a little like we were regressing. So we went through that a little, but then when we even just looked at, like, our bank has this mortgage calculator where we can kind of see where we're at financially.
Okay. So that to buy a house.
Right, to buy a house.
Okay, and it helps you know.
It does, and it kind of shows
what
we can afford, right?
Okay.
So when we did that and we put in like our income, like paying off debt and money saved, and we calculated it all up, we were like, wow. I mean, we can afford to buy the house that we really, really want to get in just a couple of years if we do this. If we don't do this, we're going to be strapped and we're not going to be able to get that house. We're going to probably have to live somewhere a lot cheaper or even just rent. So it was almost like, well, let's just go for the long-term reward for now. So, yeah.
So right now you stay with your parents and you're saving for the home and you feel comfortable there. You said that they allow you to close the door if you need, when you're paid the rent, but you're allowed to close the door, and then when you close your door, you do feel that you and your husband have your own place.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely like being married, like a little weird, especially being in like the house I grew up in, but at least we're not like in my bedroom or something, my childhood bedroom or something. That would be weird. But the fact that we're in the basement and it feels like an apartment makes it better. But there's still days where it's like we need to get out, just go to Starbucks or something, and kind of like have a little bit of break
or de-stress or de-something.
Right. Like I feel like just I can't completely be how maybe I would be if we lived by ourselves sometimes. But yeah, I mean, we both like are on the same page with that, but then we also acknowledge that it's not a big deal.
Right. We have a goal.
Right. Like our goal is way bigger than maybe some small little annoyance. So.
Well, that sounds like you guys have really worked that situation out and that it works for you. He's happy, you're happy, and it keeps everything happy. Tell me a little bit about what's going on with your sisters for the week. I mean, I know we talked a lot about them last time.
Oh,
have they been busy?
I was worrying about answering that. Oh, man. It was quite a week. So it was my youngest sister's 16th birthday.
On what day?
So Tuesday. Yeah, Tuesday. And that's the day that I have class back to back, like on Tuesday nights. And so my mom's out of town. She'll get back Friday, so tomorrow. So my mom was already feeling pretty guilty, like I'm not going to be there. And she acknowledged that you're in class all night, so my sister really is only going to have my dad, maybe my middle sister, and then my husband. Because she could probably, like, I don't know if she would be working or what she would be doing. So I got back from classes that night, and again, I had already been feeling like guilty, and I knew I couldn't skip class because I had to turn in all these assignments, and I apologized to my sister like profusely before, wished her happy birthday text and Facebook or whatever, and just kind of like tried to make her feel like I know that I'm not physically there, but I really care, and I can't wait until we can celebrate. Because I think turning 16 is a really big deal for a girl, or just in general. I mean, she's, she can drive So I got home and I talked to my dad, found out that my sister, my middle sister, she took her shopping. So she took Katrina shopping, my younger sister. Like, oh, let's go, like, buy your birthday gift.
Mm-hmm.
And in the car, like, my sister calls my dad, asks her if she can use his credit card. And she's saying all this in front of my sister, which I'm beyond pissed about.
Mm-hmm.
She's in front of my sister, calling my dad, basically asking for permission to use his credit card to pay for her birthday gift. So then, which is just awful, like, why would you do that? And, like, she has a job, and she's just so spoiled, and she doesn't understand that, like, she'll be like, oh, I'll spend $40 on myself for a ridiculous pair of shoes, but I can't buy my sister, like, a $20 gift from the makeup store.
Right.
I mean, on her 16th birthday, she's,
Right.
like, not able to prioritize that. So then, they went out, they got the gift, and then on their way home, what happened? They got in a confrontation, something about like her face and how she does her makeup. I don't really even know.
Uh-huh.
Something happened. And so my sister was driving, my 16-year-old sister.
The 16-year-old was driving?
No, sorry, like my middle sister.
Was driving, okay.
She's driving her. They're getting into this confrontation. She ends up, like, threatening to take her present back, like, to not give it to her.
Mm-hmm.
And then she hits her while driving. Like, how freaking irresponsible and unsafe and selfish and horrible. Like, that's something that my 16-year-old sister is never going to forget. That her big sister, on her 16th birthday, took her to the store, threatened to take away her gift, and then smacked her while driving. That really set me off. And especially hearing all that after having a long day of class, working all day. So when I came home and I found that out, I went up to my sister's room, my 16-year-old sister, and I was like, hey, how's it going? Heard about your day. And I mean, it just kind of breaks my heart. She like looks up and she has like mascara all over her face because she's been crying like all night.
And
So
that was because
of
her
my
sister did.
right?
She was just,
And her mom's not there, and I wasn't there,
right.
and it's her 16th birthday, and
So how are you able to comfort her?
well, I sat down and I just talked to her. I'm like, I'm really sorry that happened. And I mean, I kind of shared how I personally feel about it. And I think she likes that when I just fully disclose how I feel. And so that's what I did. And then, I tried to like focus on, well, what are the good things that happened today? And then she's planning on having a birthday party this weekend. So I asked questions about the birthday party. And then I was, saying, well, I know that like you're pretty busy next weekend and whatnot, but maybe, Thanksgiving break, me and you can go to lunch or something, because I feel bad, that you went through all that, and I wasn't there, and it ended on a good note. I mean, I think she liked the fact that, even though I was out all day and I was really tired, I could have just ran to the basement and closed the door and gone to bed, but I think she liked the fact that I, like, went upstairs and actually, like, talked to her and whatnot.
It sounds like it really affected you that she was that memorable day, because you said 16 is a very unique time for a girl. That really affected you that your middle sister was not considered of that.
Yeah, I thought it was extremely selfish.
Mm-hmm.
And so I talked to my sister the next day, the 20-year-old sister who went ballistic. And I saw her and I said, what's wrong with you? Like, why would you do that? I didn't directly go into that, but it was more like, so I heard about what happened yesterday. Did you apologize to Katrina? Did you apologize to Dad? And, I get the same response of, yeah, I did. And just, there's just kind of like this attitude all about her. There's no empathy. And I'm like, I hope you understand that your sister is never going to forget this. I mean, do you make her feel unsafe? And for me, that's my largest problem. Like, do you ever feel that need, like inside of you, to be a protector of your sister? Do you feel that sense of family? Because I do, for you and her. And I was like, I don't know where, you got this, you didn't get the memo of how to be a big sister. You had me, and I know that me and you had conflicts growing up, but I never hit you while driving, and I never threatened your life or threatened to take things from you. I might have yelled at you and been pissed about you stealing my clothes or something, but I never threatened your life. And you make her feel upset, you make her feel unsafe. And of course, it didn't end well. She's like, I know, Dad already told me. And she, of course, grabs her car keys and runs away. So.
And so she, again, you had said that she did that. That's the way she operates if you're saying things or confronting her. And what did you do when she left?
I said, all right, run away like you always do. You can run, but it's not going to solve any of your problems. And, the anger and the hurt is still here. So,
yeah, I can hear it in your voice.
Yeah, it makes me really upset.
Yeah.
And so my dad, and I wish my dad didn't kind of take that turn where then he starts kind of yelling at her about, like how she's going nowhere and how she's like, living in the house, taking advantage of everything, but she's at Nova and not really getting good grades and has no drive. And so he kind of went off on that tangent, which I agree with him. I think that she needs to focus more. But right now, it's like I want to focus on the anger and the hurt of my sister.
Right.
Not the whole school thing we can just wait on.
Were you able to tell him that, or you just kind of...
Yeah, my dad's very, like, when he gets, like, when he gets angry, I don't know. I feel like I'm the only one who can be like, Dad, like, it's okay, like, it's all right. And I have to kind of get him out of that trance of anger, and then he's like, okay. So when that happened, I said to him, I was like, I know that that's how we feel, but let's just focus right now on Katrina, because that's what I think is the most messed up right now. And so then my sister, like, screamed after me, like, because I think she heard me say that. She was like, well, look at you, Maria, you're not going anywhere, and you're 24, and you're married, and you live fucking here.
Wow.
And she slammed the door.
Oh, she left?
Yeah, and then she left.
How'd that make you feel?
Oh my God. So hurtful. Like, shot to the heart. But she said things like that before when she's angry. And that's what she does. She's so, like, when she gets so upset and, she feels like people are attacking her, she attacks back. And it's like a really bad fight. And it's not just me. She does it to my mom, she does it to my sister, she does it to her friends. She doesn't really have a lot of close friendships, and to be quite honest, I think that's probably one of the reasons. She is a viper when she's angry, and she says things that cut you, like, bad. So it hurt. It was like a sting.
Okay.
It hurt, like I said, like, shot to the heart. But it didn't hurt as much as it did the first time when she's attacked me like that. And I think it's because I know that, she's projecting that anger onto me. Like, she's angry at herself for, not going anywhere, or her insecurities of not having a drive and messing up and, being a bad sister. And I think she's just projecting that on me. Like, well, you're 24 and you live, I don't know. It's just, I've learned not to take it as personally, but it still hurts. So.
Yeah, I hear that. I'm listening to your story, and then I'm listening that I hear you tell me about how you value your mom and dad, and how they're your model. But I also still hear the interworkings of, because you are modeling after them, that you know, take the ownership in your family. You take the ownership when things aren't right. You take ownership when things are good. And it really sounds like you have a good support system for, even though you deal with your anxiety,
Right.
but you have a good support system with your from your family.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, the next time we get together, I want to talk about your girlfriends. You
Okay.
mentioned them a little bit about the nails, and we're going to talk about your relationships with them and how you know you guys interact with each other.
Mm-hmm.
And then we'll go from there. I was really, you know, you gave me a lot of information to, you know.
It was quite a week.
It wasn't quite a week, but right now, how do you feel?
To be honest, that story kind of, I don't know,
Mm-hmm.
just, I don't know, it kind of, I don't know.
Kinda brought it back?
I can't even come up with a word.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It just makes me mad.
So it brought the
Sad.
anger back.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It
And
just-
when you're angry about the story, tell me what are you thinking about specifically?
My sister, and
Mhm.
just how disappointed I am, and
So you have some disappointment.
yeah, and how I really hope my mom, like, when she comes home, like, we can talk about it. And,
Mm-hmm. So you're looking for some resolution.
yeah, and just to talk to someone who's
Mm-hmm.
on my same page.
Mm-hmm.
My dad is, but I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
He's, I don't know. Like, he gets it and he's angry about it, but he's more, I think when things are bad like that,
Mhm.
and it all hits, then he'll, like, realize, like, okay, this is serious, like, let's talk about it.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas I think me and my mom work on more of, like, what's our solution, like, what do we do?
Mm-hmm.
So I kind of, like, want my partner back in that,
Yeah.
almost.
So have you thought of any solutions on your own, or you just kind of like want to just like
I think
hash it out with your mom, so that you and your mom can?
probably talk about it, but I think also at the same time, like, even though we, like, want to talk about it,
Mm-hmm.
I think we both feel the same way, where there is no solution. I don't want to kick my sister out. She doesn't want to kick her daughter out. But we also don't want to live with crazy, and she doesn't want to live with crazy.
Mm-hmm.
But we want to love her and support her.
Mm-hmm.
But she's so destructive to everyone in that house. And it's like she's selfish and entitled and takes advantage of literally everyone. And so it's like, you know, what do we do?
Mm-hmm.
Do we throw her out?
Mm-hmm.
Keep her? What do we do?
Mm-hmm.
So we'll have to figure that out.
Mm-hmm. And just talk to your mom, and then when your mom comes back this week.
Yeah, tomorrow.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So have you guys experienced this type of meetings of the mind, I want to say, about your sister
Yeah,
in the past?
I would say though, like, it probably started happening more when I probably graduated from college and I was officially, like, an adult. I mean, I was an adult before, but, you know, like, I don't know. I think for her, like, I was still in college and I was still, like, I was more, it was younger,
Mm-hmm.
less mature, and
Mm-hmm.
I think that when I came out of school, I got married right after I graduated.
Uh-huh.
You know, we worked a lot together on the wedding, and I think that in that process, you know, we did talk a lot together about family and, like, what we should do, and I definitely think that pretty much started, like,
So
talking.
you're able to like bounce opinions and things of that nature.
We are. I mean, my
Off
mom
each other.
sometimes gets a little like, well, I'm still the mom, so I respect your opinion, but I have to say,
What do you think?
I have respect for that.
Mm-hmm.
She is my mother, but I think that her and I are very different when it comes to how we handle other people's emotions. And I think that, unfortunately, I mean, she cares about people, but I think that she's very much like, okay, well, let's brush this under the rug. Like, I mean, we have been I've been pressing my mom to get my sister mental health for a really long time. Pretty much all her life. Like, I've always felt like there's an imbalance with my sister, always. And it's just more than, like, that lack of empathy. I mean, I just think in general, there's something else. And when I suggest that, my mom is just very like, no, which is ironic because I'm entering in the mental health field and she's supportive of it, but she's not very supportive of sending her own children to mental health practitioners.
Well, your sister's, have you talked to your sister about that?
Yeah.
And what did she think about that?
When the idea was first came up, it was, you think I'm crazy? Like, I'm not crazy. Like, blah, blah, blah. Like, I don't need help. And I'm like, no, but I think you need to work with someone on how you handle your emotions. I think it's pretty obvious you do not know how to handle them and that you're a very destructive person to yourself and to other people. And she's like, yeah. So when it first came up, it was like, get out of my face. And then when it came up again, she was more acknowledgement, and like she acknowledged it and she was better with it. I think my mom came around to the idea a little too, but her number one thing is she doesn't want her kid medicated, which I get. Like, I personally, like, I don't like taking medicine if I don't have to. I mean, even if I have a really bad headache, I'm not a huge fan of taking painkillers. Like, I don't know. I just like not having another thing in my body. I don't know. So I get it, but at the same time, if my sister is just in extreme, like, you know, needs some help, like, and if that's what she needs to help with that imbalance, then I think it's important. So that is the thing that I have not convinced is maybe medication, or, you know, maybe if it's not pills, maybe it's something else, like natural techniques. Like, let's just give her something.
Yeah.
So I think she's a little bit more open to that. But
well, it sounds like at least you are looking forward to an opportunity to talk to her about it.
yeah, for sure.
And so therefore, you might have the resolution. Have you rehearsed any conversation with her, or you feel that you're able to, you know, free flow in? And
I mean, I feel like I've said it a bunch of times, so
it's not new
not gonna be
information.
new.
It's not information,
But
maybe
definitely,
it's
like,
you know,
Mom, I think this is a wake-up call. I mean, she literally put your youngest daughter in serious, and herself in serious danger. I mean, isn't that, like, a huge, you know, red flag? Like, yeah, I mean, she can act all crazy in the house and scream and yell at her sister, and you can just throw that under the bus and be like, you know, oh, it's hormones or whatever. But look at that. I mean, girl is not 10, she's not 16, she's 20.
right.
I mean, she's been an adult now for 2 years. She's not in high school. She's a college student, and she's so irrational that she's putting their lives in danger and has no, it's almost like this cloud goes over her, and she's not that person. Like, I don't know who that person is when that cloud's there. And like, and you see it too. And she does. My mom sees the cloud, and she's like, yeah, I don't know who she is. I don't know who I'm talking to. She's in that state. I'm like, okay, well then that is something wrong. Like, that's something that I think we need a counselor to, you know, work through. And that's pretty concerning. So.
But it sounds like you have some things that you're trying to work out with your mom. Maybe in our next session we can talk about it. Hopefully you'll have a chance to talk to her.
Yeah.
But it was good talking to you today. And I appreciate you telling me all the things that you did. I hope that you're able to, you know, talk out some of your things during the weeks. I know you have so much going on.
Yeah.
I hear all the things you have going on. I too would be overwhelmed by all the things you have going on. But yet you look very poised, and we talked about that last time. But you know, try to keep it together. You know, but at the same time, you know, you can also use this time as a time to, you know, have an unbiased opinion.
Right.
Right. Because I know sometimes
let loose. Yeah.
Yes, let loose. So, well, it was good talking to you, and we'll see you next time.
All right. Thanks.
Okay. Thank you.